He's Kevin Frazier from Entertainment Tonight, the co-anchor who joins us here in our mobile man cave in Los Angeles. Good to see you, Kay.
Hey, I've come a long way from being in the cubicle outside your office in Bristol. I just want to say that. It was, good times in that cubicle.
Did you? What was it like when I would go up and go into my office and close the door, and you'd be writing SportsCenter out in the cubicle?
You know what? I would see that Ali picture on your wall for a second, and I'd dream about what it would be like one day if I could have an office. And then I'd change my clothes in the cubicle. Me, Pam Ward, Michael Kim, we'd all be in the same cubicle together. Like, hey, I'm going to change now, Pam. Can you turn around and get dressed for SportsCenter in our cubicle?
It's such a glamorous job.
People had no idea. They have no idea.
And people think you're kidding. They humbled you.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, our favorite thing to do at the end of SportsCenter, and especially if we did the late one, maybe Van Pelt and all the producers, and we would go out to our cars and start them and see who had the lowest temperature reading. So we'd all call each other. I got a 6. Oh, I got a 7. And this is a highlight at 3:30 a.m. You're coming out. You're hopped up on coffee and like French toast because I probably hit the guy Vinny who used to cook in the cafeteria. He would fire up French toast at like 3:20, 3:15. So you come out. It's a great way to live your life.
How did you survive? Because you come from Los Angeles to Bristol, Connecticut,
and you are in shock. And I'll never forget. The guys from Fox were like, "Oh, you're gonna have a great time." And then the first snowstorm hit. And what everybody doesn't realize is Bill Pito then would walk around and he'd tell everybody, watch out, there's black ice out there. Don't hit the black ice because you could die. So it's snowing and there's no covered parking and you're out there shoveling your car out after you do the late SportsCenter and Pito's yelling, watch out for the black ice. And you're like, where in the hell am I? And I didn't hire a guy to shovel my driveway in the beginning, which was a mistake. So I used to have to take my truck and back up and like really drive as fast as I could and like bounce into the driveway. It would go poof, poof, poof into the snow. And so it was a nightmare at first. I was in shock.
How could you give that up to go back to Los Angeles?
It's funny. I miss those like 4 a.m. College football video game sessions with Van Pelt, because we can't go to sleep. So you're up at 4 a.m. playing each other in college football, arguing about minute facts, and that's your life. And people are like, what are you doing? I go to sleep at 6. I wake up at 2. I make it just in time for the meeting the next day.
At 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And you'd be so wired. I would drink 4 20-ounce bottles of Coca-Cola.
I can't.
In the span of the evening.
Yeah.
To do the 11 o'clock SportsCenter. And then by 12, I am so wired up, and I'm done. Now I got to go home.
Yeah.
And then drink 4 beers to just, have the opposite effect there and then go to sleep.
So mine was better, Dan, because I would do coffee, and then these guys, these video gamers, turned me on to this drink called Balls. Have you ever had Balls before? It came in a blue bottle.
Patriots have it.
And they sent me a case of Balls, so I used to keep it under my desk. And I'd fire down a Balls, especially if I had NBA tonight at 1 a.m., like at 12:15, I knocked down a Balls, and you would feel like you'd go flying into NBA tonight. Balls, B-A-L-L-Z.
Z. Balls with Z.
Balls. If you guys are still out there, send me some balls.
He's Kevin Frazier from Entertainment Tonight. When it comes to celebrities talking sports, if I said, give me your top 3 of they want to talk sports more than they do promote their movie or reality show.
Denzel, when the Lakers are good. Denzel loves to talk about the Lakers. He is always deep in it. You know who's a good one? John Voight loves to talk sports because he's done so many coaches. So John Voight loves to talk about the coaches, and he's always shocked because I don't think he fully understands what I used to do. So he'll come in and he's like, I'm playing a guy named Adolph Rupp. And I'm like, from Kentucky, national championships, didn't really like black people that much. And he's always kind of shocked at that. He's like, hey, how did you know? You're on top of it, dude. I love it.
We found that Keanu Reeves couldn't have been a nicer guy.
Yes.
But he was a sports fan.
We had a conversation about Ron Artest going into the stands when Ron played in Indiana for like 15 minutes. And understand this, at a junket, You get 8 minutes with someone. So then when they want to talk sports for 15 minutes, the publicist, the movie company are behind you freaking out. They're like, we got to go. We're behind. Yeah. And then they're looking at you like, stop talking to him. Don't ask him another question.
Because they're on this regimented schedule.
Crazy schedule. But they want to talk because they're like, hey, you get sports? Because all day long, they're talking about their movie, their movie. And all of a sudden, here comes a guy, and he's like, oh, yeah, remember this and that? And they're like, sports, save me.
Are you told not to go in certain places with these celebrities?
Oh, come on. You know, I'll tell you a great story. The Annie junket. I was just doing an Annie junket, and there, Cameron Diaz. And so I'm in the room with Jamie Foxx, Cameron Diaz, Quavanzane, Wallace. And Jamie, let me just say this now. If you ever get in trouble or you're in a bad situation, Jamie's the last person you want in the room because he's going to like put lighter fluid on it. So they're like, no real personal questions with Cameron. And I made the mistake of asking her, I was like, Diddy just recently had a quote that you were the one who got away. And all of a sudden her head spun around. Like her head spun around. And she was like, and then she's like, this is a BS question. But she didn't say it that way. She just lit me up. So she starts lighting me up. So you're like, okay, I can deflect. I'm a big boy. I can handle this. So I deflect and I turn to Jamie and ask a question. And he's like, oh, no, this is a hella awkward interview. This is the most awkward interview. I think you need to explain to her what the hell's going on. And now you're back. Now it's out of control. So now I turn to Quavanzane and she's like, it is awkward, isn't it, Jamie? And I'm like, oh, and Cameron lights me up. And she stands up and she starts yelling at me afterwards, walks out of the room screaming at me. Jamie's like, this might be the worst junket interview I've ever had. I'm like, thanks, Jamie. Good
and he's just punking you.
He's punking you, but he's a genius.
Did you air this on Entertainment Tonight?
No, it never made it never made air. But now
because you guys always have everybody loves everybody.
Everybody's so
happy.
And
Nancy, everybody. Oh, it's the greatest. I love that. I love Scandal. I love it. I watch the shows.
Yes.
So I know.
You know.
I'm not gonna say phony, but it gets close to being.
There's tension, but I mean, keep this in mind. Just like sports is selling sports in a sense, because sports talk sells sports.
But we like negative. Sports.
Well, now hold on. You've never seen. I mean, we talk a lot about like the Kardashians and Bruce's transition.
Yeah, but they want that. That's part of their show. But if you say, hey, you know what? We'll take a break here because I'm going to ask you. Not every movie's great.
No, and you know what? There are words you learn. There are ways you learn. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Okay,
it's called a tease. Seacrest would say this is a tease.
Why Seacrest?
Well,
I mean,
because he's famous for saying after the break.
You're right.
Wait, do you have a problem with Seacrest?
No, I love Seacrest. I mean, it's cool. I just was wondering why you brought Seacrest out. So you guys trying to stir something up?
Yeah, this is awkward. This is an awkward interview right now.
This is an awkward moment. This might be the worst Dan Patrick interview ever.
Seacrest is the one that got away from Kevin Frazier. What? We'll continue with Kevin Frazier from Entertainment Tonight. This is the Dan Patrick Show. You guys do love. Everything's great.
Everything's happy. We're selling.
Like a girl with extensions.
You know what we're selling.
Yes. But that would be hard. There's an art to being able to do it.
There are moments where you want to say, what were you thinking?
Could you ever do an entertainment like after tonight, after Entertainment Tonight, just call it After Tonight, and you actually show
the real stuff,
some of the stuff that happens that it's not fun or that people are yelling at you? Cameron Diaz is in your face.
Right. People would freak out. They'd freak out. You know, come on.
But I'd love to see it. But see, I have athletes or coaches who may do it to me, but it's part of the show.
I'm trying to think of who's gone off on you where you've been like, oh man.
Paulie is the
Paulie's good at these
court
kind of
stenographer.
things.
He would.
Was there Bob Knight?
Oh yeah, Bob.
He got mad once. Didn't he?
You know who went off on me just a little bit was Jay Williams.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, he got a little.
During the NCAA tournament, Jay.
Like,
I had him on,
and
I had said something. Remember when he came out in the New York Times and talked about when he was on the Bulls, they were smoking pot?
Yeah.
And I ripped him and said, why would you say that about your teammates? You're not playing anymore. Now we look at that whole roster and say, all right, So which
right.
yeah,
Right.
who's all potheads here?
Potheads, right.
So he first thing he says is, yeah, you know, you ripped me, you know, you about the New York Times and that, but we're cool. And I go, wait, what are you talking about? No, you. And then I'm going, I don't remember. I said 3 hours a day,
Right.
5 days a week, and it was awkward, but it was on the air. It was entertaining. I would have been happy to get into it with him.
I wouldn't have mind showing that camera thing, but her people would have.
You're back.
Freaked out.
Yep.
This is where you get the real stories from Kevin Frazier. Entertainment Tonight. Behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's an art to ask a question or be excited about a movie or a TV show.
You know, it's funny you say that because, Dan, you'll remember when we were at Sports Center, they brought in this guy who was the, interview doctor.
John Sawatsky.
Right. He came in and he shows you this video and he takes the best interviewers in the world and he says, they don't ask questions. And so you leave the room thinking, everybody sucks.
Yes.
He's like, but I'm going to teach you how to ask a question every single time.
Yes.
And it was really helpful.
We did 8 hours a day for 5 days on interviewing.
It was unbelievable.
It was great.
And they show you the guys from 60 Minutes. It starts with
like Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace. And he just they have Mike Wallace cut back to back to back. You're fantastic. And he just sits there. And so he's like, look at how these guys don't ask questions.
Don't you? How about this? Talk about. What does that mean? And we do this in sports. We'll go, LeBron, talk about Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
And you're going, there's no question in there.
Third quarter, your feelings.
How did it feel to hit that triple A-Rod?
So he literally said, you have to, every time you ask a question, it has to be a question, not a statement. You can't follow up. You know, you have to legitimately think.
Open-ended question,
Open-ended that makes people think. So it was great because for entertainment, it's fantastic, especially when you go in a room and you're like, what are we going to talk about with the director?
What about if you know a movie's bad?
There have been times. Leonard Maltin was great, the great movie critic Leonard Maltin. Yeah. He told me when I first got to ET, he said, listen, you have a few keywords. When people come to you, because I said, somebody came to me and they said, Kev, the movie, what did you think? And he's like, well, you have to have keywords. Don't say it sucked. Say, it was like nothing I've ever seen before. That was, I thought the plot twists were they were interesting. And so he gave me like 6 or 7 phrases that have worked and saved me in a multitude of situations because there are sometimes you're with people you respect and you like.
But now we're going to watch differently when Kevin Frazier does his interview.
The plot twists were amazing.
Can you be mean?
I've been told I can be mean. You know how people can say, oh, that's just mean or that's just right. But I think it's always just generally I'm being nice. And people in Hollywood have no idea what it's like to stand in a locker room. It's different. In a locker room, they surround you and they come firing. Yeah. So I would love for some big actors to just have to go on the road and maybe be in the locker next to LeBron for a while.
Like who?
Well, I mean, just a lot. There's a lot of folks that need coaching. There's some folks who need coaching. The folks who don't, like the Will Smiths of the world and the big boys, they go in by themselves and they're like, fire away. I got with it. Whatever you want to ask me, I'm good. Those people you love. But there's a lot of people in Hollywood who need to go and they need to stand next to LeBron's locker.
I always find it degrading on the red carpet when you have to kind of yell at, like they're walking by and then you kind of have to grab them for 2 questions.
You know, what's the best part is the plan, the pre-plan where they say, we're going to go out there. I want to walk by everybody, but I'm going to stop and turn and look at people. You just grab my arm, publicist, and pull me down the carpet. So I'm like, oh, I wish I could stop. I wish I could stop. I love you, but this crazy publicist is pulling me.
When Julia Roberts walks by and then she can't stop it, she wants to stop, but I'm being dragged here. I can't.
Julia stops. Julia does stop. When you work things out. Julia stops. She's good. But there are others that you're like, oh, okay, we're doing that act today. Oh, we're doing my publicist won't let me stop act today. Okay. Oh, okay. I got it. Go ahead. No. I don't want you to. No, please. You clearly got to get inside the venue.
While we're out here in Los Angeles, in the final 30 seconds here, what what's a must do?
Well, first of all, don't go where Seton tells you. Okay.
No, he had this club where he said that we got to get there
These
late.
are the things I'm told. I'm by insiders like you.
Like Tom Cruise and Rihanna were there, and that.
Like Rihanna may drop through one time, and then for the rest of the time, the club is like, this is the place where Rihanna hangs out. People will do that in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I would definitely say go see one of your favorite shows. A show you love. Go visit the set. It's always fun. But now everybody's finished taping, so.
Well, that's okay. That sucks.
That sucks because the summer shows are here, and so you can go visit one of the summer shows.
Where will the paparazzi be?
Okay. Mr. Chow's. This is the thing, okay? There are certain celebrities who call the paparazzi.
How much time do I have, Seton? What do I have, 1 minute?
Yeah, about a minute.
Okay.
So there are certain celebrities, and we can tell the pictures, and they go to certain places.
But they call ahead and say, I'm going to be there.
I'm going to be there. Oh, I just might happen
who's
to
the
walk.
worst?
No,
Britney used to be the worst, right?
No. It's really now it's B and D list. Like if you're walking on Robertson, if you're shopping on Robertson, you most likely want to get your picture taken. Mm-hmm. If you are at the Ivy, you most likely want your picture taken. Or if you ever see and the celebrity looks really posed in the pictures, like the paparazzi caught so and so on the beach, look, and they're posed like ha, and the pictures are perfect. They called. So those are just the hints, but. Go stand in front of Mr. Chow and see who comes out.
Kevin Frazier.
Oh, you're here at Mr. Chow with the paparazzi.
He's Kevin Frazier, entertainment tonight. Every night with Nancy O'Dell. Great to see you, Kev. Hey.